Hi and welcome to another video of Nandi Tech Bytes. In this video, we are going to discuss and perform the new feature announced by AWS for security groups referencing for Transit Gateway. Let's start with a brief introduction of the two most important services mentioned on this new feature. In AWS, a security group acts as a virtual firewall that controls inbound and outbound traffic to your instances. You can create rules for allowing access to your EC2 resources from sources like IPs and other security groups and ports protocols to allow inbound and outbound. Security groups are stateful, meaning any inbound traffic allowed is automatically permitted for the outbound response without needing additional rules. Security groups provide a simple and scalable way to secure your applications by defining who can access your resources and from where to ensure a strong security posture within your VPC. Next one is Transit Gateway. Transit Gateway is a network transit hub that helps you build hub and spoke networks, connecting multiple Amazon VPCs and on-premises networks without needing you to provision third-party virtual appliances so that you can streamline, control, and improve the security of your architecture. Transit Gateway is a fully managed service that is highly available, scalable, seamless to set up, and can support thousands of VPC attachments per transit gateway in a region. Now let's look at the problems with multiple VPCs in terms of security groups that comes with Transit Gateway before this feature was launched. Manual management of security groups across VPCs. When connecting multiple VPCs via Transit Gateway, you need to manually manage security groups by specifying IP addresses or CIDR blocks for each VPC. This can be time-consuming, error-prone, and challenging to scale across thousands of VPCs. Difficulty in migrating from VPC peering to Transit Gateway. Many organizations using VPC peering rely on security group referencing for traffic control. Migrating to Transit Gateway previously required reconfiguring security group rules based on IP addresses or CIDRs. This complicates the migration process. Third, scaling security posture across a large network. So managing and updating security group rules across thousands of VPCs can become complex and inefficient, especially when relying on static IP addresses or CIDRs. This makes it difficult to maintain a strong security posture in a large dynamic network. Third, managing security rules in a dynamic, highly connected network. In dynamic AWS environments, where VPCs and workloads frequently change, managing security group rules for each connection becomes complex, often leading to network misconfigurations or unnecessary exposure. To resolve these above problems, AWS has introduced support for security group referencing on AWS Transit Gateway. This new feature allows you to create inbound security group rules that reference security groups defined in other Amazon VPC. But the condition is these Amazon VPCs has to be attached to a transit gateway within the same Amazon Web Services region. So please note, this feature only is applicable for inbound referencing, and outbound security group referencing over transit gateway is not supported at this time. Now with this feature, all the problems that we have discussed are solved. For the demo, I am going to deploy this architecture. It consists of two VPCs. One is named as Project VPC and the other as Dummy VPC. Both the VPCs will be attached to a transit gateway using VPC attachments, and then we will create two EC2 instances on each of the VPC and will refer the security group in Project VPC as inbound rule for the security group rule in Dummy VPC. And then we are going to connect the D1 EC2 from P1 EC2 instance. Fine, I am in the VPC console. I am going to create a VPC and let's name it the Project VPC only. And I'm keeping most of the things as default only. Create VPC. By the time VPC is getting created, please do like, share and subscribe the channel. So project VPC will be done. Then next we'll be creating the dummy VPC. By the time this one is getting created, let me create another VPC parallelly on the other window. We'll follow the same process, create VPC, VPC and more. And here we'll give the name as dummy. And in the CID, I will change the IP. And rest of the things will be similar. Only the AZ, we need only one AZ for this demo purpose. So let's click on create VPC. I will let this one get created and let's check the other one. So it's completed. Let's view the VPC. Okay, project VPC is done. We have the subnets and route tables, everything. And this one is also progressing. This will take some time. Let's go and create the transit gateway. So let's go to the VPC console. I will click on transit gateway and create transit gateway. So this one I already have, but we will be using a new one. Let's create a new one. Or let me delete this one and then create a new one to avoid any confusions. Delete. Now let's create one. So I'm going to name it as transit set security group. Same description. ASN I'm giving 65000. And this is the important thing. Previously this feature was not there. Now we have to enable this so that we can reference security group across VPCs. So this transit gateway will take some time to create. Meanwhile, let's see the VPC status. It is still creating. So once this transit gateway is done, we will create transit gateway attachments for both the VPCs. Let's check the status for the dummy VPC. Okay, this one is also created. So now we are done with both the VPCs. By the time the transit gateway is getting created, let me create one security group for this project VPC first. So I'll go and click on security groups, create security group. Then give it a name as project security group only. So let me correct the name, project dash security group written dash. Perfect. Let's give some description here. So allow SSH from my IP. Perfect. I'm going to select the project VPC and inside rule, let me allow SSH. And in custom, I will choose my IP. Let's copy paste this. Okay. Outbound rule remains the same. Create security group. So if you see, I have created the security group for the project VPC. And let me give some tag name here so that there is no confusion and it will be easier for you to understand. Perfect. So our transit gateway is created successfully. It's in available state. Now we are good to go with creating the transit gateway attachments. So I'm going to create it in transit gateway attachments. Create transit gateway attachment. Give some meaningful name. I am giving as project on VPC so that it will be easy for you to understand. We are going to get two attachments. So this one is for project VPC attachment. And here also, this is, you can see security group referencing support if you have to enable, right? And then create transit gateway attachment. Same thing I am going to follow for dummy VPC as well, right? Testing, create transit gateway attachment. Let's name it dummy VPC attachment. Transit gateway ID will be same. VPC type is VPC only, and here we need to choose the dummy VPC ID and then create transit gateway attachment. I will pause the video here till these two are available. Now the communication to happen between the two VPCs with the help of transit gateway, I need to update the route tables. So I am going to update the route table for both the private subnets. For project VPC, this is project VPC subnet, private subnet. This is the route table. Let me open the, this is not coming. Okay, now it's showing. So I need to open the route table and modify it. So let's open it on the other window. So I am going to update the routes for the dummy VPC here. So in the route tables, click on edit routes and add route. Here I need to give the CIDR range for dummy VPC. And in the target, I need to choose transit gateway. Here it is. And this is the transit gateway ID, right? Click on save changes. Similarly, I need to update the route table for dummy VPC also. So let's select the dummy VPC private route table. Okay. Let's open the route table in new tab. And let's update it. For this route table, I need to use the CIDR range for project VPC. So it's 10.0.0.0/16, right? And here I need to choose the same transit gateway. Click on save changes. So perfect. Now the routing part is done. We should be able to communicate between those two VPCs, right? Next thing I need to do is I need to create an EC2 instance in project VPC and in this private subnet. Let me go to the EC2 console for that. And let's click on create launch instance. Right. Let's give it some name. So let me give the same name as per the architecture, P1 EC2. I'm going with the default options, Amazon Linux 2 and T2 Micro. And in the security settings, we need to choose project VPC. And in subnet, I have already have that private subnet. So, and in security group, I need to choose the one that I've already created, the project security group, right? Project security group, perfect. And I'm going to access the EC2 via SSM. So I'm choosing an IAM profile for this SSM, right? Now all's done. Let's click on launch instance. So let's create the other instance in dummy VPC. Let's name it as D1 EC2 and same as Amazon Linux 2, T2 Micro. And in network settings, I need to choose dummy VPC. Right, subnet will be private. And in security group, if you see, we have not created any security group on this VPC yet. So let's create one. Let's name it as dummy only, so that it will be easy to understand for everyone, right? Dummy VPC security group. Allow, put it inbound only from project VPC. So I have chosen the dummy VPC here, and in the rules section you need to observe nicely now that I am going to reference the security group rule, which is project VPC, from the project VPC only. So project security group rule, let me copy this ID and I need to paste it here, right? And let's allow ICMP also, so that I can ping and test the connectivity. Same security group rule, project VPC. Allow SSH and allow ICMP. Ping, right? Create security group. Now let's attach this security group with our EC2 instance P1. So WPC security group we have attached. Perfect. So the instance is getting created now. Let me connect the P1 EC2 instance by the time this one is getting created. So I'm going to connect via SSM, Session Manager. Let me grab the IP for D1 EC2 instance. Let's do a telnet on port 22. So the command is telnet IP and the port. So we are getting successful here. And let's do a ping and test. Ping IP. Perfect. So we tested the connectivity from one project VPC to dummy VPC using transit gateway and referencing the security group from project VPC on the inbound rule on the dummy VPC. Thank you for watching the video till the end, and please do subscribe the channel for more interesting contents.